with your time with Department of Energy and then a lot of the other engagements that you've been a part of to include the IT Cost Commission, what have you found with how agencies are tracking IT cost accounting data? And what, if any, recommendations would you have for changes given what you've seen over the last 2 decades?
Well, that's a great question, Sean. Thanks. Kelly Morrison from OMB approached us once she found out we were doing this work stream and said, hey, OMB needs help. We need to figure out how we can better track IT spend in the agencies. We are getting just different numbers from everybody. It's really hard for us to understand how much IT is being spent throughout the federal government. So me kind of going back to my days in the budget shop, I was like, well, how did we used to submit our budgets to OMB and Treasury? And then I, popped in my head, those object codes and object subcodes. So I started kind of going through all those to see how IT was being tracked in those object codes and subcodes. And as we know, it's not tracked very well. I use the example of 23.3, which is communications, utilities, and I think rent or something along those. But a lot of IT costs are captured in there. But if Congress told OMB to capture those costs out of that 23.3, they would never be able to do it. So what we started looking at was there are also optional codes that are available to agencies, and they're called agency and cost center codes, and they're optional codes. GSA is one agency that utilizes these and utilizes them very well. They internally track everything with these agency codes and subcodes. My thought was, well, OMB, if you really want to get a handle on how much government is actually spending, why don't you standardize what those agency or the cost center codes and subcodes could be, even though they're optional? That way, if each agency decided to use them, then you would have a standardized way of looking at information coming back. And then whenever you went to do more budget guidance later on, you could say, hey, we've already tried this. These agencies are using this. We have great visibility into their cybersecurity spend or into their hardware spend or software spend. So that's what our work stream was working on, and I think we came up with some really good recommendations for OMB, hopefully for them to put in their budget guidance. And this will certainly start the federal space on its way to being a more commercially styled IT shop, I guess is a good way to say it.